Have you ever wondered how the Viking Age changed the course of European history? Well, let's embark on an epic journey back in time to an era that spanned from the late 8th to the early 11th century, a period known as the Viking Age. Picture a world stirred into motion by the Vikings, a seafaring people from the Scandinavian region. The Viking Age was launched with the notorious Lindisfarne raid in 793 CE, where Vikings descended upon the peaceful island monastery, shattering the tranquility of the early Middle Ages. But the Vikings were more than just fearsome warriors and raiders. They were also explorers, sailing the vast seas to discover new lands, and traders, exchanging goods and ideas with different cultures. Their influence extended far and wide, leaving an indelible mark on the landscapes, cultures, and histories of the lands they touched. Now brace yourself as we voyage into the past, exploring the profound impact of the Vikings on Europe. Picture this. The sight of a fleet of Viking longships appearing on the horizon was enough to send a chill down the spine of any coastal dweller. From the late 8th century to the early 11th century, the Vikings embarked on a series of audacious seaborne expeditions that spread terror across Europe. These Norse seafarers, hailing from the icy realms of Scandinavia, were not just explorers and traders, but also fierce and relentless raiders. Their infamous raids began with the sacking of the Lindisfarne monastery in Northumberland in the year 793. This event sent shockwaves through Christendom and marked the onset of what we now call the Viking Age. From the British Isles, these raids extended to the far reaches of Russia, and even the sacred city of Constantinople wasn't spared. But what drove the Vikings to embark on these perilous journeys across treacherous seas? The reasons were manifold. Economic gain was a significant factor. The monasteries they attacked were often richly endowed with treasures and offered little resistance, making them an attractive target. The Vikings would take these spoils back home or use them as currency in the bustling trade hubs of Europe and Asia. Political power also played a role. With the proliferation of petty kingdoms in Scandinavia, the chieftains often sought to enhance their prestige and power through successful raids. The spoils of these raids not only made them wealthier, but also helped to secure their positions back home. Lastly, we cannot dismiss the impact of climate change. During this period, Scandinavia experienced a slight warming trend. This improved agricultural output, leading to a population boom. With more mouths to feed and resources becoming scarce, the Vikings were compelled to look beyond their borders for sustenance. These raids, though devastating, were just the beginning of the Viking impact on Europe. The Vikings didn't just raid and leave, they also made themselves at home. Let's dive into the establishment of Viking settlements across Europe, a fascinating aspect of their history that extended their influence far beyond their Scandinavian homelands. They ventured out, made their mark, and established thriving communities, from the British Isles to Normandy in France, and even as far as Eastern Europe. The British Isles, for instance, became a popular destination for these Nordic explorers. They weren't just content with pillaging and plundering, they saw the potential in the fertile lands and decided to settle in. Over time, these settlements grew into bustling trade centers like York, or as the Vikings called it, Jorvik. Moving on to the mainland, the Vikings set their sights on the region we now know as Normandy in France. The name itself is a testament to the Viking influence, derived from Norsemen or Northmen. The Vikings, led by the legendary Rollo, negotiated with King Charles the Simple of France, and thus the Duchy of Normandy was born. Venturing further eastward, the Vikings sailed down the great rivers of Eastern Europe. They established trade routes, founded cities, and even formed the Kievan Rus, a federation that would later evolve into the nations of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. But it wasn't just about the physical settlements, it was about the lasting impact these settlers had on the local cultures and languages. Viking words seeped into the English language. Words like egg, knife, and window are all of Norse origin. In Normandy, the Vikings influenced the local architecture, with the wooden stave churches being a prime example. In a way, the Vikings were the ultimate immigrants, integrating themselves into the local cultures and leaving an indelible mark that still resonates today. They were more than just fearsome warriors, they were explorers, traders, and settlers, shaping the course of history wherever they landed. But the Vikings were not merely invaders and settlers, they also had a rich and influential culture. Imagine a culture so rich and diverse that its echoes can still be found in today's society. Welcome to the fascinating world of the Vikings, the seafaring warriors from the north who were not just raiders and explorers, but also poets, merchants, and artisans. Let's delve into the Viking culture, starting with their religion. The Vikings were polytheistic, believing in a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with their own distinct personalities and domains. This belief system played a significant role in their daily lives and was a source of inspiration for their intricate art and literature. Speaking of art, the Vikings were renowned for their artistic prowess. Their art, often rich with symbolism, was expressed in a variety of forms, including intricate jewelry, beautifully decorated weapons, and ornate stone carvings. These works of art tell us a story of a people who took great pride in their craftsmanship and had an eye for detail. In the realm of literature, the Vikings left behind a rich legacy of sagas and poems. These sagas, filled with tales of heroism, adventure, and sometimes romance, provide a unique window into the world of the Vikings. They also underscore the importance of storytelling in Viking society and how it was used to pass down their history and traditions from one generation to the next. Beyond art and literature, the Viking social structure was complex and hierarchical. At the top were the jarls, the wealthy nobles, followed by the carls, the free peasants, and at the bottom were the thralls, or slaves. Despite this hierarchy, Viking society was surprisingly progressive for its time, with women enjoying certain rights and freedoms not seen in other parts of Europe. The influence of Viking culture on the lands they settled in is undeniable. From their art and literature to their social structure and religious beliefs, the Vikings left a lasting imprint wherever they went. They assimilated the best of what they encountered and in turn enriched the cultures they interacted with. And this vibrant culture played a crucial role in shaping modern Europe. In the next scene, we'll explore the enduring legacy of the Vikings. Stay tuned. So, how does the Viking Age still resonate in today's Europe? A question that leads us to the indelible mark left by the Vikings on the European landscape. The Viking Age, spanning from the late 8th to the mid-11th century, was not just a period of raids and invasions, it was an era that substantially shaped the course of European history. The Viking legacy is imprinted in the very geography of Europe. From the north of Scotland to the coastlines of France, place names bear the Viking hallmark. For instance, in England, any place ending in by or thorpe is of Viking origin. So next time you find yourself in Grimsby or Scunthorpe, remember you're standing on what was once Viking territory. Language too carries remnants of this seafaring civilization. English in particular owes a debt to the Norse tongue. Words like egg, skirt and window are all borrowed from the Vikings. Even everyday phrases such as get out of bed on the wrong side are Viking in origin, but the Viking influence extends beyond place names and language. It permeates the very fabric of societal structures and legal systems. The Vikings' thing, an open-air assembly where free men could voice their opinions and settle disputes, is an early form of the democratic systems we see in many European nations today. The Vikings' egalitarian attitudes towards women, their intricate art styles, their advanced shipbuilding techniques, and their exploratory spirit all contribute to the modern European identity. They were not just ruthless raiders, but also skilled traders, innovative craftsmen and explorers who dared to venture into unknown territories. The Viking Age was a time of expansion, exploration and cultural exchange, and the ripples of this era are still felt in Europe today. The Vikings left a legacy that extends far beyond their traditional image of horned helmet warriors. They shaped the languages we speak, the places we live, and the societies we are part of. Indeed, the Viking Age was not just a period of raids and invasions, but a significant era that shaped the course of European history. So we've journeyed through the Viking Age, but what does it all mean for us today? It's not just about appreciating the past, it's a gateway to understanding our present. The Viking Age, a period of raids and settlements, has intricately woven its threads into the tapestry of modern Europe. From the names of towns and cities to our very language, Viking influences are embedded in our everyday life. Think about it, the Vikings were not just fearsome warriors, they were explorers, traders, settlers, and even artists. They established routes of commerce, created settlements that flourished into cities, and introduced new cultures and ideas. They helped shape the Europe we know today, history is not just a record of the past, it's a mirror reflecting our present. By understanding the Vikings, we gain insight into the foundations of our own societies. As we've seen, the Vikings left an indelible mark on Europe, and their legacy still resonates with us today. So next time you think of the Vikings, remember they were not just raiders, but also settlers, traders, and cultural influencers.